Okay, morning guys. This might be all over the place. I spent yesterday with the Lord, and after basically I prayed. I said, Lord, I'm empty. I am absolutely empty. I have nothing to give. You've emptied me, and I've said before, the Lord empties that He might fill. So I prayed that prayer yesterday morning, walking down the river with my dog. Came back home again, and I came across a booklet. Now, this wee booklet has been written by Mr. Harry Foster. I have no idea who he is, but I'll tell you one thing, he knows what he's talking about. So between Harry, I'm sure he's gone now, bless him, and what the Lord has poured in, my purpose this morning is to encourage the saints. Look, if you were or are feeling anything like I have been, you might have become weary in doing good. You might be looking around you, and instead of who we should be looking at, who of course is Jesus. But there are so many things happening in this world today. It's so easy to take your eyes off Him and look around us and wonder what on earth is coming upon the world. And that's exactly what He said men would think. But somehow yesterday, He gave me the strength to pull myself back from that place. That it wasn't a dark place, because as I said in my last video, I do have peace. I have His perfect peace. So it wasn't a dark place. It was just a place of hunger. The Lord's table is always full and filled with fat things. And we who know Him and love Him and have given ourselves, our lives over to Him, have the right to eat at His table. Now, in the past, I would have said, I don't know why He withholds His table from us sometimes. But with age and maturity, yes, I do. God has a reason for everything He does in our lives. There is nothing that He gets wrong or makes a mistake about or challenges Himself to think He may have done something else. No. He is solid. He knows how long to let the fire burn within us. So my prayer between yesterday and today, and finding this booklet and reading the scriptures, is to not only encourage you, but to give you light on what is happening today so that you can protect yourself from those elements that would seek to harm and kill the people of God. So as I say, I have no idea where I'm going to, I think I know where I'm going to start. I have no idea where this will take me to, but believe me when I say my purpose is to share with you what God shared with me and the joy that I received in what He's given. So here in front of me you can see this is a representation of the statue that Nebuchadnezzar dreamed about whenever Daniel was captive in Babylon. Daniel and his friends and many other from the tribe of Judah captive. And obviously the king at that time was Nebuchadnezzar. And he had many, many wise men, magicians, astrologers, sorcerers around him who pallied up to him, kept him happy, kept his throne and all that was coming from it seemingly alive. But you know, there's no life in flesh, none whatsoever. But here on earth, it is a fleshly kingdom. It's quite simple. Satan reigns here on earth and over our flesh. So anything that the sorcerers and magicians were going to give to Nebuchadnezzar was always going to be from the pit of darkness. Anyway, he had this dream, and he called his wise men, as he called them, and up they ran, and he said he'd had a dream and they were going to interpret it. And he said, no, I don't want just the interpretation. I want you to actually tell me what the dream was. And they were stunned, because that was one thing they just could not do. So he threw them out, and he actually issued an edict to have them killed, because they could not only interpret the dream, but tell him what it was. But as I say, I want to keep myself on track on where and what God has revealed to me. And it's nothing that hasn't been revealed to anyone. This just happens to be what he has shone the light of his Holy Spirit on for me today. And you know, Daniel was able to say, he praised the God of heaven, and he was able to say of God, wisdom and power are his. That's verse 20 of Daniel chapter 2. Just go to that. Sorry, my desk that I'm sitting at is covered and stuff, so bear with me. Daniel chapter 2, what did I say? What verse did I say? 20, 28. Oh, please don't be slow. Let me see. Where? Oh, 20, 21. Daniel praised the God of heaven and said, in fact, Daniel challenged the edict and asked, you know, why? Why did the king decide to kill his wise men? And when he was told, I think he was absolutely, he was distraught. Because, you know, Daniel had a heart after God. And he always looked to help people. He looked for the good in people. Daniel was never accusatory, or he never condemned. Sorry, I need to pause this. He didn't want these people to be killed. So Daniel returned to his house and explained the matter to his friends. He urged them to plead for mercy. See? He urged them to plead for mercy. That is the kind of spirit we are supposed to have when we belong to God. Concerning this mystery, so that he and his friends might not be executed with the rest of the wise men of Babylon, because he was going to be one of the ones that was going to be executed as well. But let me move on. Praise be to the name of God forever and ever. wisdom and power are his. He changes times and seasons. Just look at that for a start. He changes times and seasons. Now, there's a furore up all around the world today about climate change and what's happening and what man is doing. Now, yes, man is destroying the earth, absolutely. But Scripture tells me that it's God who changes the times and the seasons. So, he deposes kings and raises up others. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to the discerning. He reveals deep and hidden things. He's a revealer of secrets. He knows what lies in darkness and light dwells with him. So Daniel eventually is brought to the king, and not only does he tell the king what his dream is, he interprets it as well. So, I just want to read from this wee booklet. There are various implications of this fact. God is preparing a people to share with his Son in the administration of a kingdom. And perhaps the first of them is the need for understanding, perception, revelation. We need spiritual insight. We need to seek God for what's going on today, because many of us have been led astray, taken into places that we never should have been. Our role model, if you like, is Christ himself. And not only was Christ a ruler, is a ruler, has a throne, but he's also meek and lowly in heart. Anyway, the crux of what I'm trying to say is, because of what's happening today and because of all the false prophets that are out there, when Daniel saw Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and he went right through it, the head of gold, arms and chest of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, feet part iron and part clay. And then he saw a rock that was not cut with human hands. Do you know what that means? That means there will not be 1 ounce of flesh in what God brings about in the final days of this world. When he breaks in pieces this statue that represents all that is evil and wrong and unjust, this rock, this is the saints. This is the saints of the Most High. These are the ones who have been prepared from before the beginning of the world. Do you know, I was just thinking yesterday that yes, we live in this age, this church age, and this is a spiritual age. We don't see things with our physical eyes as they did in the Old Testament. The battles we go through, the trials and the fires, they're all spiritual. But spare a thought for those in the Old Testament, because they went through physically what we now go through spiritually. And they are our brothers and sisters. They are a part of this rock that will break this statue in pieces. They suffered in their flesh, if you like. Because when you read the Old Testament, everything was physical, slaughter, murder, evil. But in the New Testament, all that we go through comes from the heavenlies, principalities, powers, all either allowed or orchestrated by God himself. You know, when this is all over, when this rock is about to fall, there'll not be 1 ounce of pride within this, not 1 ounce. And you know, when I watch and see some of the stuff going on today, the pride, oh, the pride that I see. And you know how we who belong to him can see pride in someone else? Because it's been dealt with in us. If God has cut from us through trials and afflictions and many testings, pride, which is the biggest demon, if you like, to be dealt with, he can't leave us. He can't leave us with any pride, because pride speaks of flesh, and there will be no flesh in this. Daniel interpreted the dream and let the king know exactly what was going to happen to the kingdom, and this is for our encouragement and our strengthening today. So be encouraged and be strengthened, and be this is meat from the table of the Lord, in that he's telling us today that no matter what you see happening in this world, no matter what seems to come through that says I don't exist, it's all been a lie. Jesus Christ is not who he says he is. Pull yourself back, and get your feet back on the rock of Christ, because Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and I, the Lord, change not. So this is coming. This represents this world system, evil to the core, but this rock represents the saints of the Most High. This rock has not been cut out with human hands. No flesh has touched this. This is God's work, all God's work. So if there's any flesh in what you are giving out or what you are receiving, please, I can only warn you. And that's all I want to do, is warn you. God will not give his glory to another. Yes, this is the end of days. Everything we see points to that. But we, his saints, can comfort each other in the Holy Spirit and the knowledge that his kingdom will come. His will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Oh, may God grant us patience, the spirit of wisdom and revelation, and the understanding of what's happening. Not knowledge. Don't seek for knowledge. knowledge pops up, ask for understanding. Understanding, love builds up, and we must love each other even more so as we see what is about to happen. So, amen for now, and thank you so much for listening.